I've got the unlimited loaded up. I tell you, I cannot catch catfish. I catch little old 1-footers that are, 15-inch fish, maybe channel cat. This is tough. I named myself Fat Cat Fisherman, and so far the only part of that I am is fat. But anyway, I'll find them sooner or later. We've had a horrible heat spell here. It's been up in the mid to high 90s, and heat index is around 100. The fishing's been dead. That's probably part of it. And like I say, I'm just learning it. I've never catfished until this year, although I've fished my entire life. And, I'm almost 70. I'm not almost 70, but I'm over 65. So anyway, I've loaded up the unlimited today. I'm going to go back to kind of what I know. I'm going to go back to the same area I've been in most of the videos and troll a little bit for whites and crappie. Hopefully I'll pick up a walleye. If I do, it's going home for dinner. If it's a bunch of crappie, they're going back in the lake. If it's the white bass, I'm not really sure one way or the other. I'm that weird guy that likes white bass more than I like crappie. It's a little firmer. I cut the red meat out, and most people will disagree. I'm back down in the CC area of Greenfield. I've been fishing up around what they call the Twin Bridges, which is the Ruark Bluff and Mutton Creek area, but I haven't done particularly well up there. This is an area that generally will hold some white bass and crappie close to this bank. It's always been a good bank for me, especially up here at the mouths of these cuts. Now, the last couple of times I've been here, the white bass haven't been running particularly big, and the days I've caught more of them, it was a little cloudier. But that being said, I rarely strike out here. I may not get enough for a video, but I don't think I'll strike out. I'd like to pop a couple of nice walleye. I'd take them home for dinner. I'm not much of a crappie eater, and I get a lot of white bass, but I don't get a lot of big walleye. I have caught in this area a 6.5, a 4.5, a couple of other pretty nice ones, but I've caught an awful lot of them that are 15, 17 inches long, and those just don't fillet out to much of a walleye meal. Anyway, like I say, this cut right over here is kind of one of my favorite mouths to fish, and then there's another one, maybe a 1/4 mile on up. I generally, when I'm trolling and paddling like this, I'll go down about 1/2 to a mile and back up about 1/2 to a mile, and generally just work this area. I have moved quite a bit farther when the fishing was tough, but I've also had days when I was able to spend the whole day within a mile of the launch ramp. So who knows what's coming today. I see more activity out deep. I haven't really marked a lot of fish in here. I think right now we're at about 10.5 feet, it says. And that's usually kind of my starting depth, but I'll work out as far as 20, 25 feet if I need to. The other thing is, I've noticed a lot of days when there's a wind like this that I need to be trolling with the wind to catch more fish. So it's also a lot easier paddling. But I'm starting out heading into the wind, and at least the graph's working now. I blew a fuse, didn't have any with me. I had the flat fuses, but of course the fuse that I blew was a round one. I've got 2 fuses in there just because I can afford a lot more fuses than I can to buy another graph. So anyway, I'm gonna turn this off. If I start getting on some fish, I'll have it back on, try to show you me landing them. I'll try to get it on when they hit, and then, like I say, have it on when I land the fish, and we'll see what we're going to get today. All right, I got something. I moved in a little. I went out and tried the 13, 14 foot. Didn't do very well there. So I moved in a little closer. I got in there 8 or 9 feet, and I switched to a little smaller bait. I was using a number 7 flicker shad in Fire Tiger. I went to a number 5 flicker shad in what's called a racy shad, sexy shad. I've heard it called several different things. It's basically kind of a small shad lure. And I got my first crappie of the day. He's not bad, but he won't, if he does keep, which is 10 inches here, he would just barely keep. I don't want to mess with measuring him. I think he's probably closer to 8 or 9 inches, so I'm not going to mess with him. I wouldn't eat him anyway, so I'm just going to give him back to the lake. But that's a good sign. Like I say, I think the fish are going to be laying a little closer to the bank, and probably want a little smaller lure since we're going to be a little brighter sun than I was counting on. My fire tiger is typically, for me, I find it to be a cloudy weather, cloudy water type bait. And I tend to go with a little more natural colors when I get into the clear days, clearer water. And for this area, this greenish tint to the water right here is probably about as clear as it. I mean, it'll get a little clearer than this, but it's not going to be. The main lake out there will look like tap water. I mean, it's really clear, but this is not. I'm going to let out a little more line there. And anyway, we'll see what we can find a little shallower. That's a good sign. I'd only pulled that about maybe 70 feet when I got that hit. Now, it wasn't a very big crappie. Like I say, it was probably 8 to 10 inches long. Anyway, I'll be back on if I get another one. Well, I think I got another little one here, but looks like I can see him already water skiing across the top, and that generally means crappie, and usually it means not a monster crappie, but we'll see what we got. He came out of about 12 feet of water, assuming I land him here. I got to land him before he counts. I know the YouTube rules, but anyway, he's another, looks like a 10-inch. 10 or 11 inch crappie probably. He's nothing. No, he's not that big. Shoot, 9 or 10 inch, I'd say. Anyway, he's bigger than the last one I caught, but he's not super big. I've got a little measuring device on my paddle here. I think I'll see exactly. Man, I hate handling crappie. They're so slimy. And yep, he's about 9. I'd say he's 9, maybe 9 1/8. He's not very big. So anyway, we got one lake up a little bit north of here where 9-inch crappie are keepable, but not here. So, but what the heck, it's a fish. If I get a couple more, it'll be a fishing video anyway. So there's a guy on YouTube, if you haven't watched him, he's quite interesting to watch. His name's Catfish Dave, and he says to be a fishing video, it's got to have fish. If it has fish, it's a fishing video. So that makes sense to me. Let me get this thing started and see if we can find another one. Well, I've got something here that I think is a little bigger. I don't see it water skiing. It seems to be fighting a little harder. It might be a small white bass, or it could be, I guess, a real big crappie. It doesn't feel quite strong enough to be a walleye. Could be a little black bass, I suppose. I guess, assuming that the hooks stay in, we'll know here pretty soon. Anyway, whatever it is, it's better than the last couple of fish. It's a drum. What I like to refer to as Stockton Lake tuna. Anyway, I'll get a kind of a picture of him there for you, and then I'll cut him loose. Okay, let me get him off. Well, I got another fish on. The action's starting to pick up a little. Unfortunately, it feels like I may have another drum. Which I got to admit, I didn't come up here to drum fish today, but he's not coming up. He was fighting pretty good. Now it's kind of quit. It just, they don't fight quite like a walleye. They pull hard, but they don't really move very fast. I might have lost him. Let's see what we got here. Nah, he's still on there. Something's on there. Anyway, let's see what we got. Well, unfortunately, it appears that I've got another drum. So, or fortunately, I guess, however you want to look at it. I think my camera was kind of slipped off. This one's, oh, he's hooked right in the eye. That's not good. But anyway, he's a little smaller than the other one. I'll see if I can get him off and possibly spare his eye. Now quit that. Quit your croaking. Well, that came right out. I think. Yeah, his eye I think is even going to be okay.